Have you been seeing those large stone or faux concrete planters all over the place, especially on social media? Well, they are beautiful, but they are so expensive. So let's make them for a whole lot less. Hi, I'm Alli and welcome to my channel. This is the second video of my patio makeover series, which is going to, of course, end with seeing the full transformation take place. Now, today we are tackling a very specific DIY, which are some faux concrete or faux stone large-scale planters. I love the look of these planters. They're big, they're elegant, they're modern. However, they are so expensive. There's a couple examples on the screen and they can range anywhere from $50 for the smallest one to hundreds of dollars for the largest. And we're gonna be able to make an entire set for $65 or less. And that includes the flower pots as well as the faux concrete technique that I'm gonna be showing you. It is so easy, so let's hop into it. The first thing for this project, obviously, you need are your planters. And now you have to kind of determine what sort of shape you're going for. And I sort of wanted this nice sort of cylindrical look that these have, where they taper in nice and smooth at the bottom. Now, preferably, it would be nice to get some flower pots that don't have any sort of lip or design or sort of added texture to them. Other than this one here has pretty decent texture because it will help for the next steps. But you just kind of want a nice blank canvas in the shape that you're going for, and then we're gonna start applying on our first layer of texture. The larger planter already has some great texture for the next step to latch onto, but these two smaller blue planters, they need a little bit of something just to add a little extra grit. So I'm just gonna use some sandpaper and rough these up a little bit, and then we can move on. For adding the kind of faux concrete look that we're achieving with these planters, I did a lot of research to figure out what would work best. One, for a large amount of coverage we have to have, and two, would be a little bit more cost affordable, and three, I also, what was the third point? I forgot what it was. What was the most important one? Oh, I remember. And three, I wanted it to be something that would be durable because these are going to be outdoors. So what I came up with is using a combination of some regular interior latex paint. This is Rocky Bluffs by Valspar. It's just a nice gray tone that was reminiscent of the color of concrete. And I'm gonna mix it in with some joint compound. I've had this for a very long time and it just really was in need of some use to finish off this container. I'm gonna mix the two together and we're gonna apply it on to the surface of each of the planters, and that is going to create our base coat and really start making these take shape. I was going back and forth with what I should use to apply this paint mixture that we created, and I decided on this bad boy right here, this 4-inch really thick brush. I think this is just gonna be the easiest way to apply. So I'm just gonna dip it into this mixture that we've created. I think that's pretty good for the texture that we are going for. And just gonna start applying it onto the surface of the planter. Oh, that's good. That's really good. That's exactly what I was hoping for. So I'm just covering up the inside as well, going down about maybe a third of the way, just so that this looks nice and cohesive on the inside. It's been a couple of hours. The first coat of this paint joint compound mixture has dried. I do want to go back in with a second coat just to smooth out some of the rough texture on this one, and then also cover up some of the spots where you can still see the blue peeking through on the other two planters. Happy the day 2 for the planter project. These look great. I love the texture and the base coat that we have here. Now I do want to go in and start adding in some depth and dimension, but before we add more texture on, I thought we could just go in with a plain base layer of some latex paint. So I took the Rocky Bluffs color that we've been working with, and I mixed it with just a tiny bit that I had left from a sample of the color Peppercorn. Both are by Valspar, but really you just need something to darken up the paint from kind of this lighter gray tone to more of a darker medium gray. And I'm gonna just see kind of what works best for applying this in a way that looks organic and kind of like natural stone or concrete. So I'm applying some of this on with a foam brush, just a large foam brush, trying to brush this on here. And I think what I want to do to make it not so blotchy is take this paper towel and kind of buff it lightly or dab it, whatever kind of seems to work the best to get more of a stone sort of look rather than having it look like it's painted on. I'm going to try dabbing it as well. Let's see what this looks like. I think I like that. So I think the goal with this is to mostly cover the entire planter with this darker shade of paint, because I do plan on going back in with some more layering, and this is really going to just start bringing in some of the depth, and it's going to look really, really good, I think, in the end. And I'm liking this method where I'm sort of sporadically brushing and dabbing the paintbrush on top of the planter and then buffing it in with the paper towel. I let the darker coat of paint dry. Now I actually reserved what I had left of that joint compound paint mixture. I added in just a tiny bit more joint compound to make it thicker. We're gonna go back in, we're gonna add another layer over top, but a little bit more sporadically, just to start bringing back in that medium tone, add a little extra texture, and I think that's really what's gonna start making these come to life. And my method for doing this is concentrating the paint in some areas and then kind of feathering it out in others. It just really brings in some dimension, leaves some of those other layers peeking through, and I really, really like the look that this is giving. I promised you there's only a few more steps left on this project. I love how this is turning out so far, but to give it to more of that brushed concrete look, I'm gonna just go over with a 100 grit sandpaper super lightly, just to buff everything down and smooth it out. It's really going to be the key to making this look realistic. In the areas where that third coat of the joint compound is a little bit thicker, I'm gonna just give that an extra sand just to bring back some of those underneath layers. Now that the planters are finished and they look amazing, I'm so happy with how they turned out. We need a way to fill the pots, especially this big one right here. It is way too big to house a plant if you just plopped it in there. So I was able to pick up one of these. It's a plant riser that fits perfectly into this planter right here. Now for my other two, these smaller ones, I also did pick up little plant saucers. Now these are designated for going underneath the plant when you have your pot sitting out. However, they also work into these planters. And the only reason I'm doing this now is at the early stages of these plants, early in the season, they're not ready to be filling a full planter this size just yet. So this is going to kind of act as a little bit of a buffer until they're ready to be repotted. Once again, this is part of my patio makeover series, which we will be wrapping up next week with the full reveal. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you didn't see the video before this, it's where I made a DIY table and artwork for the patio. I'll link that video right here. You might also want to check out this video as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.